Alright, hello everyone, this is Patrick and Kyvan, and we're going over our game called Darkest Dungeon, which is actually a variation of an actual game called Darkest Dungeon by Red Hook Studios. If you haven't played Darkest Dungeon, I would strongly recommend it. It is in fact the greatest turn-based RPG of all time, and you're missing out. But here is Darkest Dungeon, which is hopefully a fifth of the game that its forefather is. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so when you open the game, you're met with an opening cinematic, and let's read it together. Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation. The game expects a lot out of you, at least a lot in terms of patience. What will you sacrifice for victory? Hopefully no more than 5 minutes. Either way, prepare to die, and remember, overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. That being said, let's open up the game and load a world. So the first thing you notice when you open up the game is, why is everything so dark? And the reason is we're playing Darkest Dungeon, not Lightest Dungeon. So of course the map must be 95% darkness when you spawn. So to interact with what part of the map you can see, you can use the mouse to hover over stuff, and you can see, this is a wall, this is a floor, this is a trap, and this is you. So to move around, we will use WASD. It's pretty self-explanatory. And the way the lighting works is you have a torch meter, and we have a directional torch with a constant width of 3, so from this spot to this spot, and then a variable height of length torch, right now which is 5, which is bounded by walls and nothingness. So obviously you can't see through walls. And now you might have noticed that this particular spot on the ground says trap. There are in fact traps in this game, and they look a lot like floor tiles because they're the same color and roughly the same shape. So you gotta be careful, and the way to defuse them is just click on them, and hopefully they won't kill you. Now the goal of this game is to collect all 3 of the ancestors' trinkets, and you will see what they look like once we find them. And the way you can lose is either you run out of torches or you step on a trap. So let's explore a bit of the world. Alright, we have found no trinkets yet. So if you might have noticed, the remaining torches has now dropped to 4, and therefore your line of vision is now only 4 tiles long. This might not seem like a very obvious difference from 5 torch to 4 torch, but believe me, by the time you're down to 1 torch, you will definitely notice, and it'll make your life very miserable. Right, so here's our first trinket, so we just need to collect 2 more after this one. And here's our second one. I swear these are randomly generated, but you know, sometimes you're just lucky. Nuts! We ran into a trap. So one of the reasons why traps are so annoying is because sometimes they're right around corners and you run a little bit too fast. And remember how overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. Well, if you don't take the time to look for traps, that's overconfidence. So let's try again, and hopefully we don't die immediately. Yeah, this game takes a long time to load because OBS is a lot of stuff. Alright, let's give this another shot. Alright, that's a little bit unfortunate. I didn't even do that on purpose. Traps are hard. Oof. That's a little tragic. Whoops. Alright, I swear this time we will at least try to finish up the... Let's not lose in like 10 seconds this time. that'd be a little bit embarrassing. Alright. Wow, there is a trinket, like, right outside the door. This is nice. This is kind of embarrassing, not gonna lie. Oh my god, okay. Perhaps a fourth try. Oh my god. Perhaps a fourth try will do the trick, right? Oh god. I swear to god, if you run into another trap, I'm gonna have to re-record this. Take it slow. God, there's so many traps. Alright, there's the first trinket. There's the second one. Alright, we just need one more and we have 3 torch to do this. Let's not step on a trap or light the 4th game in a row. Oh god, it's not gonna happen. No. Alright, we're at 2 torch. Oh god, it's not happening. So if you notice right now, our current torchlight is at 1, so we can see in literally just a unit circle around ourselves. Darkness is about to fade in. Oh god. This is kind of embarrassing. Let's not step on it. Darkness holds nuts. It was right there. Darkness holds dominion. So yeah, at the end of the game, when you lose or when you win, we just show you the whole map just to rub in some extra salt for those of you who are unlucky. I mean, it's a game about making the most of a bad situation, so I mean, it is what it is. And we're gonna give this one last try, and if we can't win in the next try, I'm gonna start talking about other stuff. I swear it is possible to win, although I'm not gonna lie, my win rate for this game is probably like 750. This is a tough game. True to the spirit of Darkest Dungeon. Oh god. Some of these rooms are just like most unconnected layouts of all time. Sometimes the game is a little bit soul crushing. Dude, are you what? This is... Okay, there's 2 of them. Perhaps the last ones are also right next to each Yes, there it is. Alright, there's the last trinket. We did it. Hooray! Glitter and gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood. Are you excited? You should be excited. And it's okay to be excited now, because the game is over, so it's fine to be overconfident. So that's about it for gameplay features. As you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a pretty addicting game, actually, because, like, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I get a little bit obsessed when I lose a lot in a row. And, like, it's just fun to, like, spawn new worlds and try them out. In the remaining time, I want to go over some other, I want to talk a little bit about the world generation technique we used, because if you might have noticed, our world looks pretty different from, like, a lot of other worlds that other groups have been generating. So I just want to talk about how our world generation algorithm was a little bit different. So, if you've noticed, a lot of our rooms and hallways, a lot of our rooms aren't exactly square, and our hallways aren't exactly straight. And one of the reasons for this, wow, we just won. You know, sometimes you're just lucky. But yeah, looking at this map, like, so, the reason our maps look like this is we actually never introduced the concepts of rooms or hallway to our algorithm. Our algorithm actually just generates a sort of randomish map. It basically starts at some seed point and propagates in all four directions and starts randomly constructing a world just by, like, exploring spaces randomly and such. And then after that, we get a pretty chaotic world that would normally just qualify as, like, erratic cavernous space. But we do some filtering, so we take out some annoying islands of walls, like just little single bits of walls hanging around. So that clears up a lot of rooms, because now there's no, like, weird small walls. And then we filter out a lot of the dead ends, just to smooth out rooms and make them a little bit more square, and also to reduce the amount of, like, really short dead ends. And from, like, a pretty randomized world, we are able to, like, cut that down into what looks like a normal world with rooms and hallways. But because the original map is still, like, kind of chaotic, what ends up happening is that our worlds tend to look what I feel like is a little bit more natural. Like, it feels a lot more like exploring an actual, like, cave or dungeon as opposed to, like, exploring, like, I don't know, like, Dwayne or something. The pathways are, like, long and snaky, and they frequently double back on themselves. Because they're completely randomly generated. It's not like I pick some randomized rooms and then just pick, like, the shortest hallways to connect them. So we tend to get, like, a lot more, well, I feel like is a lot more interesting, like, hallways. And our rooms are, like, there's a lot more, like, different shapes we can end up making because we're not generating the rooms and, like, forcing them to be, like, rectangular. So I think I thought it was pretty cool. And a really, oh shoot, we died to traps again. A really cool side effect of this is that because we generate the world randomly through traversal, we can change the frequency of how often walls appear to make the maps what I like to call sparse. So a more sparse world will have more floor and less wall. So basically you'll just have bigger rooms and, like, less hallways. And if you set the sparsity really low, then you have very dense worlds with lots of wall compared to floor. And then you get, like, a lot of snaky hallways. It looks more like a maze basically than, like, a dungeon. And, like, it takes, like, maybe one variable change to, like, adjust that. So it's really easy to, like, fine-tune worlds with that sort of algorithm. So I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm gonna quit this world. And just to prove I can, and that saving works, we can load it up. If it'll ever load. Yep, and that's right where we left off. So that's about it for our world. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and yeah, see you later.